Video will teach you about reverse coding items. And so here we're looking at the bots survey data. And we're going to take a closer look at a couple items here. We're going to take a look at the stats anxiety and math anxiety items. So, the stats anxiety item, the first item on the bot survey, asks, I am anxious about taking the statistics course. And then you guys, if you took the bot survey, participants responded on a 1 to 7 strongly disagree to strongly agree scale. All right. And then we have this math anxiety problem, which was number 3. And it's worded a little bit differently. It's worded, I do not get anxious thinking about math and algebra problems. So we have 2 anxiety problems, one about stats, one about math, and perhaps we want to create a composite variable of these 2 items. However, here for stats anxiety, the higher your score, the higher the participant's score on here, the greater the greater the level of anxiety. For the math anxiety problem, it's actually the opposite. Right? So for the math anxiety problem, because of the way it's worded, I do not get anxious about thinking about math and algebra problems. This is actually worded in the sort of opposite direction. So that the higher the higher the value, the higher the score on this item, actually means that you are not anxious. So the higher your score, the less anxiety that you're reporting. So right now, these items are scored in sort of opposite direction. Now, if we want to create a composite of these variables, then we have to reverse code this math anxiety item so that higher scores actually indicate a greater level of anxiety. Because right now, the way that it's worded, higher scores, the way that it's scored, higher scores actually indicate less anxiety. So basically, we need to reverse code this item, which means that we're sort of going to invert participants' responses on the response scale. So let's go to transform, and then we will say recode into different variables. And so the variable that we want to recode here, again, is the math anxiety item. Bring that over. And then I will name this math anx and then underscore RC to indicate that this is a reverse coded item. And then I will fill in the label later. But we'll click change and then old and new values. And so we're basically going to invert the response scale here. So all the 1s for this item are now going to become 7s. All the 2s are now going to become 6s. All the 3s are now going to become 5s. So you notice here, 1 to 7, 2 to 6, 3 to 5. So you can see that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the left side here, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on that side. So now we're at 4. Will be left 4. I like to put it in there anyway. And then 5 is going to become 3. And then 6 is going to become 2. And then 7 is going to become 1. All right, so old values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 1s become 7s, 2s become 6s, 3 become 5s, 4s, we're going to stay 4s. 5s are going to become 3s, 6s are going to become 2s, 7s are going to become 1s. All right, and so once we do this, now the scores for this particular item, higher scores will indicate greater levels of anxiety, just like the stats anxiety item do. So you can click continue, and then paste. And then once you have your syntax, you can highlight, and then run. And it looks like we didn't get any errors. So if we go back to our data file and we check in here, you can see that we have a new variable, mathanx underscore RC. And so I will create a label here. So I'll just copy and paste the label for the math anxiety item. But at the end, I'll make sure to put a RC indicating that it was reverse coded. Now we can assess whether we can create a composite variable of math anxiety and the stats anxiety items, variables here, to create sort of one anxiety score about stats / math. And so you can see the video about how to do a composite variable, how to check that, how to check the internal consistency, and how to compute the new item. You can see that variable. But that's a quick lesson about how to reverse code an item, a variable.